Well, I knew it was coming eventually. The 76ers could potentially be interested in moving the third pick for a more win-now type of player. The question is, would it actually be a smart move, or is it just a ploy to save Daryl Morey's job? We'll get into that. Also, a new group of prospects emerging at the Combine that the Sixers are keeping tabs on. Could one of them become the guy? And one quote about Ace Bailey at the Combine that apparently is turning teams off. We'll break it all down, but welcome in to Philly Take with RB. I'm RB. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and make sure those noties are on. Like I said, we dropped a few draft content pieces last week, but we have a lot of breakdowns to come in the following weeks. I've been diving deep into these players, watching their games, and I think you'll be interested to hear my findings later this week, so make sure you're tapping into the content. But we started off with a Game 7 from yesterday as Nikola Jokic was sitting for 2 minutes and OKC went on a 13-0 run. Legion Hoops tweeted about it. All I heard yesterday was Jokic is this, Jokic is that. He had no help, this, and that. And while I do agree, and while it was crazy that the Nuggets got blown out by 40 in a Game 7, remember when Joel Embiid had to go through this for 5 years? Remember when he would go to the bench in a playoff series and Greg Monroe would come in the game and the other team would go on a quick 10-0 run, and everybody blamed Joel. He said it was all his fault. Well, the fact of the matter, and what Jokic said after the game, stands true. The teams that are deeper, that have more depth, but not only more depth, more youth, teams that can run more for 48 minutes, are the teams that are succeeding right now. I mean, we have 4 teams left. Who would have ever guessed it would be the Thunder, the Wolves, the Pacers, and the Knicks? It's a crazy league, man. But teams are ever changing, and the way to build them is changing as well. And I think right now we're learning a lot of lessons. The number one being that you have to prioritize youth and draft the right way. And that takes us into today, because we have a new report as of this morning. The Sixers, according to other teams, are expected to be active in trade talks for Kevin Durant and Lauri Markkanen that include Paul George and the 3rd overall pick. They're also looking at a group of prospects including Ace Bailey, VJ Edgecombe, Trey Johnson, Common Malawach, and Con Knuppel. Okay, let's break it down one thing at a time. We're going to take it over to the ESPN article. This is from Jonathan Givony, Draft Express on Twitter. This is the guy who we were looking at all the clips from last week. He was there at the Combine, meeting with prospects, talking to guys, capturing film, all this type of stuff. So shout out to Givony. He does a wonderful job. Let's start it off with the prospects, okay? The Sixers are looking at a wide range of prospects, including Ace Bailey, Edgecombe, Trey Johnson, Malawach, and Con Knuppel. Are one of these guys going to be the guy? Well, maybe. Like I said, we'll talk about each one individually, but at the end of the day, these are all prospects. These are all guys you have to roll the dice with. They all have flaws. They all have potential, but you have to hope and pray that it works out. Bailey, widely considered the draft's 3rd most talented prospect, is the natural fit, as he could seamlessly slide into the Sixers lineup at shooting guard, small forward, or power forward, operating alongside any of their current players. And as I've been on the record now for a long time, I do think Ace Bailey's a good prospect. I think he'd be a good fit. The question is, how high do the Sixers, do their scouts, and everybody that's at the Combine have him on their board? On the other hand, could they trade the pick for a more win-now type of player? All right, this was also in this piece from Jonathan Givony. He talked about every team. Here's what he said. Some teams expect the Sixers to be active in trade convos with names such as Kevin Durant and Lauri Markkanen as potential targets in packages that could include PG and the number 3 pick. Sixers president of basketball ops Daryl Morey has made a career of being active and aggressive on the trade front, but historically, it's rare to see a top 3 pick being traded. Adding a young, talented prospect could be appealing as a reset to the team's timeline, offering long-term hope among Joel Embiid's injury concerns and George's significant contract, which might not age well. And that right there is the golden piece for me. So let's think about this for 1 second. Why would Daryl Morey move the 3rd overall pick and try to get a win now piece? Well, for one, he's always done that, right? Daryl Morey's not used to drafting high in the draft, but the time is winding down. And he knows that if next season starts off bad and it's a disaster, let's say they draft a prospect and he maybe is not that ready in year 1, and things don't seem promising, and Joel Embiid's got injury concerns, and PG's hurt again, well, guess what? He's out of here. Nurse is probably out of here, and we're looking at a reset. So Daryl Morey, selfishly, is probably going to try to save his job, or at least put in an effort to do so however he can, right? He's going to try to do it as quick as he can. That's why the Sixers would go out and make this type of move. Now, when you think about these players, right? Kevin Durant, Lauri Markkanen, two names that we have talked about effortlessly, relentlessly for years on this channel. Kevin Durant is going to be 37 years old next year. So while I've always liked KD, and he's one of the best scorers ever, do I want to trade for KD, who's going into the last year of a 4-year, $194 million contract, $54.7 million next year, and what, have another top-heavy roster? We just talked about Jokic and why that Nuggets team failed. We look at OKC, who's got 21-year-olds for days, and they have 10 more draft picks in the chamber. I don't think it would be right now, based on what we're seeing around the league, to go out and trade for another piece. Kevin Durant would also have to sign off on it. He wants an extension, and he's going to be 37, 38, 39, 40. I just don't think it would be wise. It would be another Sixers move. You pay a guy when they're too old, he'll come here, get injured, and then you're stuck with the contract. So I don't like it from KD. Now, Lauri Markkanen is an interesting name. While KD is a definite no for me due to his age and injury concerns, Lauri Markkanen is a guy who's going to be 28 years old, can shoot from all three levels, is a versatile player, can put it on the floor, he can defend 3 or 4 positions on the floor, and he'd be a really seamless fit here in Philadelphia. He averaged 19 points last year, 6 boards, and 1.5 assists. But I can't blame Lauri Markkanen for being on a crappy team like the Utah Jazz. Lauri Markkanen was an all-star in 2023, and I believe that he could rejuvenate that here in Philadelphia. The question is, what would you have to give up? Because let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, Lauri Markkanen is a great player, and Danny Ainge is not going to give him up just for the 3rd pick to inherit Paul George. No, he's going to take multiple draft picks, probably Jared McCain or Tyrese Maxey and more. And for that, I'm saying heck no. While Markkanen would be a seamless fit and be a perfect complement to a guy like Joel Embiid, there's still no even confidence right now that Joel Embiid is going to be healthy for all of next season. If you told me that Joel Embiid and Paul George would most likely be healthy for 70 games next year, I'd say, yeah, let's pull the trigger. Let's go all in and make this move. But right now, there's just way too much uncertainty. So in my opinion, although these are good players, I think I'm more confident in rolling the dice with a young prospect. And even if the Embiid, Paul George duo, trio doesn't work out in the coming years, you still have a piece that you can draft, develop, and get him on the right timeline with Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain. And oh, by the way, you don't have to give up any extra assets. And that player is going to be on a rookie contract for 4 years, which will help you in team building. So that is where my mindset is at. I just don't think it is worth it. Keep in mind, Lauri Markkanen is going into the first year of a 4-year contract extension worth $196 million, and the money goes up every single year. So again, I just think there's a lot of long-term risk here, especially with his durability concerns. He's coming off a couple consecutive years with injuries. I just don't like the idea. But back to this article, I want to talk about one thing that came out regarding Ace Bailey. The feedback coming out of Chicago suggests Bailey is somewhat polarizing in internal front office convos because of questions about his feel for the game and unpolished team interviews. One GM compared him to Anthony Edwards during the pre-draft process. Bailey has not come off as buttoned up as some of his lottery peers, but drew strong marks from a handful of executives who appreciated his candor and willingness to display his big personality. So again, we talked about it last week. This guy's talking a big game. He has confidence in his game. He wants to work. He wants to be the best. I'm not too mad at that. Anthony Edwards did the same exact thing, and look at how he turned out, right? I like Ace Bailey and his confidence and his personality, and, I think he wants to be in the gym. So give me your thoughts on Ace Bailey. Maybe this could turn some teams off. Maybe a couple of these other teams could want to trade up and take somebody else, and the Sixers could slide back a couple slots and still get their guy in Ace Bailey and get a couple future draft picks as well. Speaking of Ace Bailey, we will look at the final draft combine drills results. They did the shooting drills and the agility drills. Here's Ace Bailey. He went 21 for 30 as it relates to off the dribble. He went 18 for 25 in spot-up shots, and he went 12 for 25 in the three-point drill as well. He went 14 for 24 in the three-point side drill, and he went 9 for 10 in the free throw drill. So everybody's saying that he can't hit free throws. Well, there you go. Also, in terms of the draft combine, Ace Bailey did really well in the shuttle run. He was 5th overall, tied for 5th, 2.78 seconds. And in the three-quarter sprint, he ended up being, I think, tied for 7th at 3.12 seconds. His lane agility, his standing vertical leap, and his max vertical leap were a little bit farther down the list, but he showed the speed, he showed the lateral quickness, and these are traits that I think will develop and will continue to grow in the NBA. He has a rare combination, a rare blend of this speed and quickness for being as tall and lanky as he is, and I think it's, pretty good to see in a young prospect, especially at 18 years old. So anyway, that's where we're at. Give me all your thoughts down below. What do you make of this report? Would you trade the pick for a win now player, or are you solely banking on drafting and developing a player for the future? Give me your thoughts down below. As always, appreciate everybody for tapping in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.